Hello, we're back. We finished our 6s, we're on to 7s. It's a slog, man. It's a slog, but we keep at it because the more we have to think about it, the better it all becomes. Gives us more places to go. And then I got some world building I'm going to do after this to help build out the areas intervening, the areas surrounding the Westral Empire, or at least the Westral Empire itself, or Pistol Barrel City. I have to take a look at where it's going to be on one of my maps. It's actually something I can do right now. That song was a bit too jumpy for me. I'm too chill today. Where can we go? Where can we go? Where can we go? Let's close some of this shit before I accidentally show you my 3 terabyte homework folder. That's a good joke. You can laugh. All right. Netflix, huh? Come on now. Where do I get you to show me the page again? View world. Raventeer. Okay, so north of this is Droheim, but I'm sure we can go check out some of the other maps. Where do we get to all of them? Tutorial. Okay. There we go. This is a regional map. It doesn't have any highlights, but here it is. We got Droheim. Here's Zezig. Here's Habel. Habel's like over here. This is where you'd go through to get to the Spiderlands. The Everwood is here. So you guys came out of Droheim, which was on the edge of the Everwood here, and went to, where'd you guys go again? Oh, into the Everwoods, but then, oh, where'd you go? Where'd you go? Well, into the Badlands, roughly over to here, which is where you went to the Elemental Plane of Air. Jeez, I can't talk today. So, but now we're going from Droheim to the Zarth Desert. The big Westral Hestmeyer is here, and I don't think it's called Hestmeyer anymore. I gotta look up the new name I have for it. Pistol Barrel City is right here on the edge of the Blythe Talon Plains. In fact, I might even make it into the Blythe Talon Plains. The thing is, in order to get there, we do have some interesting areas here. It's not displayed here. Maybe it is if I click here. Yeah, so most of what you're going to see here, we determined existed in our last campaign, right? So we got the Blythe Talon Plains up here. This is the Uska Farallons up here, which there are several different important places here. But either way, there's the Chelsrinth River, which you guys didn't have to cross, but Eternity, which I did describe as, you know, sucking down a river, or most of it, is the hole which leads to the underworld. The ruins of Sadas, they spent some time in our last campaign. That's where the sword-like tower was. The wall of Sadas, which had some stored memories, stored history in it. That's where they found Billy. There was a chess-like adventure there. God, I cannot talk today. It's been a long day. It's been a long day, so please, no judge, no judge. Oh, my camera's not even fucking facing me. Oh my god. No judge, no judge. I got a button on my butt. Either way, Esmertemia, listen, Hestmeyer, Pistol Barrel City. See, I was thinking about moving Pistol Barrel City to like right in the Blythe Talons, right on the edge, because this puts it so close to like a main, like a capital, and I wanted it to feel like it was far and away. But you know what? You can have a dusty trail in the hills of the Dragon's Teeth Mounts pretty easily. By the way, there's dragons in there. but we'll talk about that later. Okay, so either way, I need to figure out what they're doing. So one thing that's not listed here, which is actually new with this campaign, is there is a portion of Droheim which has annexed a portion of the Blytalon Plains. If you remember, there was a big giant eye that we fought here, and it came through the sky, or a big giant beholder, and it actually impaled itself on two of the wizard towers, the Northwest Tower and Greysong Tower. And now we also imprisoned it, if we remember, inside of a Mechanus contraption, a trap by I think it was a little Mondron that was with you guys, and he unfolded a trap and kind of created an infinite ordered prison to keep this infinite chaos at bay, and it is trapped presumably within. Well, the area now is like it's the demiplane of Mechanus, right? It actually exists here on the map, and Droheim has made a little outpost there, or I guess annexed the area, and is studying it and is trying to understand it and mine it for new archaeological knowledge. So it would make sense that there is a teleportation highway of sorts, which takes us to the Blytalon Plains. And then from there, like, assume it's like right here, even wherever it happened. I got to double check my notes. It's probably close to the Chelsrinth River. Yeah, so it's probably over here somewhere. And so I imagine they could teleport there super easy and then make their way over to Pistol Barrel City. That means they'll likely hit up the Chelsrinth River, Nyden Lake, the Dragon Teeth Mounts, Ground Zero. This is where the first atomic bomb was dropped on the Esmortemian Horde. And that's actually, remember, Esmortemia was, the Horde was encroaching upon Hestmeyer because Hestmeyer was becoming more and more, I guess, aggressive as part of their forced. It's all about the history. So Hestmeyer shows up. This whole area was the Blytalon Plains, and it was run by Dragonborn, Esmortemia. But at that point, they were known as the Crew Horde or the Crow Metal Horde, and they were just nomadic, and they collected tithes in order to give to dragons, and they protected dragons and served dragons, and they were just nomadic, like Golden Horde. And the Hestmeyer shows up, and they're like, you know what? We don't care. You guys can do what you want to do. But then Hestmeyer started. So these were sailors from another continent of humans, settlers, and they started massively expanding throughout the Zarth Desert. And all of a sudden, the Blytalon Plains is like, hey, slow down. You can't just take all the area and then tell us we can't go into it. And Hestmeyer was like, yeah, we sure can. And so they fought a war. A war which, we had the Blytalon Plains, lots of sorcerers, lots of barbarians, fighters, rogues, rangers. But then Hestmeyer, who was all about gunpowder and military tradition. And so the Blytalon also was decentralized. It was super hard to hold any place that wasn't where the Crow Metal Horde was. And the Crow Metal Horde can only be in one place, right? And so if they send out too much in the way of armies or, groups, platoons, battalions, whatever, to defend all the different areas of the Blytalon Plains, then they themselves would run the risk of leaving the Crow Metal Horde too vulnerable. And that's their city, their home, their metropolis that moves. And so Hestmeyer was doing quite well in the first part of the war. However, Hestmeyer, also known as the Westral Empire, by this point, they had declared themselves in the war. And then, but don't forget, the Crow Metal Horde had spent literally 2,000 years serving dragons and giving them tithes and everything. So they needed help, and the dragons showed up. They won the war handedly against Hestmeyer. Now, they could have pushed the Westral Empire back into the sea and forced them from the lands, but they didn't want to. Instead, they insisted that the crew, which exists of 12 different tribes at this point, that the humans of the Westral Empire become the 13th tribe. So they basically invited them to join the nation with equal representation of all the other peoples of the Blytalons. 12 of which were fully represented in the Crow Metal Horde, but whatever. And this went well until the events of our campaign, where this man, Hestmeyer, his name was Hester Westrel, was the man who landed and was the leader of the Westrel Empire, and it was his daughter who ended up getting one of the Infinity Stones. I forget what we called them. They were the like world creation marbles that could create a demiplane where they have godlike powers. Her name was Amethyst Westrel, and she was the Empress after her father passed. And there's a whole thing about how she come to power too, because she was actually, there was an assassination, whatever. But our players fought her, defeated her, because she was one of Esmir's, people, and kind of shoved her out. And then things got a little bit better for Hestmeyer. But also, sorry, I forgot to mention, while she was, at her prime, she dropped. So she was being attacked. Oh my gosh, I'm missing so much of this. So she takes power, whatever. Now it's the current day for our campaign. And what happens here is that she has power, but she's also becoming aggressive again, right? Just like her father was when they had the original war. So the crew starts marching the Crow Metal Horde towards Hestmeyer. And they don't think there's going to be violence. They just think it's a show of force, saying, hey, you are one of us. Don't be fighting us. But also, Hestmeyer did fight a war against the dwarves of the Dreadhalls, the Titanium Dreadhalls, across there's a little inland sea over here, or a little inlet. And they had fought them before and beat their army. Well, they had a navy. The dwarves have a navy, and Hestmeyer sunk the navy once. And then while this is happening, while the Crow Metal Horde is advancing on them, the dwarves fucking show up with another navy. Now, their navy is all these ironclads, they're submarines. And so they basically blockade the harbor of Hestmeyer. And they're just waiting, right? Laying siege, if you will. And then thirdly, there's this other thing going on where there's this big flying city taken over by a rogue faction of wizards. I forget what we called the city. It's actually the crashed and destroyed district of it is now a portion of Hestmeyer's city map. There's a district of its ruins. But either way, they were showing up to attack and take over Hestmeyer. So Hestmeyer, Amethyst says, oh my god, I got dwarves in my sea, I got Crow Metal on my land, and in my sky I've got rogue wizards. And so what does she do? She uses a weapon that had remained secret until now, and that is atomic bombs. They were invented somehow, well, I think we've kind of hinted that Earth technology has somewhat bled through into this world, so it's fully reasonable that she's taken it from them, like from whatever discovery has come from the dimensional connection that I had advertised. But either way, she drops 3 bombs. She drops 1 on the crew, she drops 1 on the city, and then she drops 1 on the ironclad submersible army, or I guess navy, blocking Hestmeyer's harbor. The Crow Metal Horde immediately breaks. It is reduced to a third in size in a flash of an eye, in just a single explosion. And the rest are sick and injured and running. And so they flee into the Everfey, where they form later as Mortemia and stop becoming a running people. They become a no longer migrant, but they now have aesthetic. They also have a civil war in the formation of that Esmertemian, as they realize that some are that doesn't matter. I don't get to give you a full lore. We played most of the game. I got it all written up. Either way, there's a lot of lore going on here about how all these places got created, but they need to know it because they're going to be coming through this area, and so they're going to be able to see that history. And unfortunately, what does this mean? I'm adding more themes, aren't I? Because not only am I dealing Westrel, but I haven't dealt with their history. The Dragon Teeth's mounts are actually an irradiated wasteland. Well, not irradiated. Well, there are dying, irradiated dragons there. And they're protected. They're too weak to fly off. They're being cared for in secret by Esmertemia. And, they're trying to be recuperated, but they suffered. They were the dragons that were at the Crow Metal Horde at the time of the explosion. You know, they did their best to defend, but what could they do, right? And so they could be passing right past that. And of course, going past ground zero, there's fucking undead there, you know? So we got to think about that too. Although it was 100 years ago, 50 years ago, I think it was 100 years ago that happened. So are there still undead? Well, I mean, they were shadow undead. That was the thing. And then we get ourselves to Pistol Barrel City. Of course, I could spend a lot of time rehashing all that stuff, making sure that I'm good to go for my encounters there. But they also now have the ability to be teleported anywhere they want. So they can just bypass all of it. I can get ready. It's a lot of extra work if I want to put a lot of time and effort into it, especially because you want them to enjoy the trip, you know, but you know, that's where we're at. Long story short, I got to take that shit into consideration too in my, I mean, it all talks about where does the adventure start? The adventure start with the travel, or is that like a little mini adventure on the way there? I've always treated it like a mini adventure, but sometimes it feels, just doesn't feel like the right way to do it. Okay. I've got my 6s. Let's do my 7th minion. So what do we got? We got the Shadeling, who is the son of Ophelia. So his mother, he's trying to help her out. He's broken at the moment. Erliana, who is the half-sister to Maerx. He doesn't know this at this point, but he might be suspecting. I've given some pretty hefty hints throughout places. She is demon tainted. She's half demon, half changeling. She has been raised to be a sociopathic killer. She has different personas, and they're all assassins. There's just various types of assassins. So we got our sniper assassin before we had a more typical assassin. And then we got a Messiah's army. So again, minions can be just groups of NPCs or groups of monsters as well. In this case, the individuals are... The individuals of the city are well armed with their gunpowder swords. Actually, I think I said that each of them, each of them has been given a vision by Ophelia, and it shows them their unique gunpowder sword, and then they create it. So people have also forged these weapons with their own hands, and they're individualized. So I'm gonna have to describe that as we go, and I speak specifically about the Crowfoot family, or the Coalfoot. Coalfoot, because that's a good dwarf last name, and the first names will be stereotypically Caucasian, North American Caucasian. So we'll get Stacy's, Margaret's, Jennifer's, you know, anything to draw the anachronism of the last name of dwarf and the first name of human. But in this case, she's married to Claw, and I think I actually have Claw regretting his decision. A blind man's sword, nearly blind, Titan West suit. He tracks all the goods. You know what? I think let's consider that he has regretted the decision, but is too cowardly. Is he too cowardly? Yeah, he regrets the decision. He's trying to make the best of this bad situation. Yeah. I don't know. We'll see about that. Let's see. These are the people who are helping Ophelia. Oh, I fucking jumped over the howitzer golem. This one's just going to be fun, man. AoE blasts, lobbing projectiles. Ooh, okay, yeah. Radioactive ammo, point blank, blast ability. It's all Westral. It's all Westral. Julie Bruman. So first I wanted her to be like a commissar at the Imperial Guard, like the Imperial Guard army would have in 40k, but it just doesn't make sense, right? They're all devotees of hers, and there's only 100 adults here, probably a third that many children, so like 20, 30 children at most, and that's assuming they're growing pretty big. Actually, they'll need outside recruitment if that's there. Yeah, they'll need to get more people from the outside in order to keep up their breeding stock in a generation or two, but doesn't matter. Yeah, she finds a spy, so she's just really good at, yeah, rooting out spies and assassins. So she's a good detector. We'll have to make her the one who shows up if they try to sneak in. So what other tools would she have? Again, she is wanting to create wealth, comfort, security for herself. I think security is a big one, so it's definitely going to be weapons. Maybe another kind of army. So we got the howitzer golems, we got the Messiah's army. Wasn't I talking about like a group of cavalry? Because horses and a cavalry charge seems kind of Civil War-y to me, and that seems to lend itself to Western. I mean, they have to trade, right? Or maybe they've got... I mean, so we also got to play up the Titan West thing, so maybe more golems? What kind of golems would a Sphinx have dwarves make? And also, who's making these golems? I think, yeah, we have the Golem Master. No, typically a normal first name. Golem Master. Brindlebeard. I like the word brindle. Color of my dog. Brindlebeard. Stacy Brindlebeard. That's right, I flipped the gender. So what we have is a female dwarf. Yeah, female dwarf. She is a golem creator. Oh my god, I'm doing great with the words today. What's so cool about her? What kind of golems would she be creating? What kind of threats is she afraid of? She's got an army. So if soldiers showed up, she figures she could hold her own. Proper army shows up, she could hold her own. With a garrison of 100 well-trained soldiers, howitzers. We're really playing up like... Machine gun? You see, that gets away from Wild West. Although, anachronistically so, it's like Wild West with Will Smith. Had machine guns. In fact, it was the invention of the machine gun that... I like machine gun, honestly. I think it brings yeah, I don't know. Does it scream Titan Western? It definitely screams dwarf. Yeah, I don't know. Okay. Machine gun golems. And it definitely hits golem. Titan West Dwarf. That gives me the Titan West right there. Lone Creator is more Titan West because it's Dwarf. Machine guns. I think we got ourselves Titan West again. More Titan West names. Thundergulp. I've actually heard that one in D&D before. Bronzebeard. Okay, we'll give him a little bit more there. Really hitting the Titan West. We gotta find some kind of family. There's another stereotypical dwarf name. Yeah, so yeah. Stonejaw. Nice, we had to kill a family to do it, but we got there. Okay, I got a lot of guns, right? But I don't have to say guns, I just say Titan West, and that means guns. Prophecy, huh? Prophecy, swords, and I should hit family more, but... What ideas come up? We still got prophecy to fit in there. A bit more family would be better too. I like this one. There's a lot of different ways to play it, you know, even as a encounter, like maybe she's repairing them. And so the player's got to deal with her. Meanwhile, these things are lighting them up. And I like the idea that they can't be faced directly and that they can ignore cover. Yeah, you ever watch the remake of Judge Dredd on Netflix? They've got this gun that can just shoot through all the walls. So it kind of doesn't matter where you are on the level because it just shoots through every wall. Hmm. Her dead family. I feel like we can lean more into that. Okay, I like this. We'll play more into the family. By getting rid of her name. Yeah. Will they ever know? Will they ever know these things? We'll have to see. That's a promise. That's not prophecy. Alright, first of all, that's more family, so let's get that in there. Still can't figure out fate. She left the city.